This. All right, guys. Big power clap. How you guys doing? Overall, how are you? Fine. Justin, how you doing?
Doing great. Is that Express?
This shirt got so dirty before, I don't know what happened. Like somebody had no stains, and then I got the class. I was like, oh, what happened? Yeah.
It's Express?
It's Express, yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Do you? I think this is like 2 years ago model.
How's it going?
Right, we should plan it.
It's nice.
Sure, yeah. I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it. Nice and bad. Cool. So, what do you guys think of Project Week? Project Week. Dan, what do you think? Huh?
I'm glad it's done.
You guys done?
Yeah.
Did you have fun? Did you learn anything? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I learned a ton, and I thought it was great. You guys did an amazing job, and I didn't know all of your capabilities, or at the level they were. I went over the voting and all the scoring leads, so we'll present that probably when we get back next Monday. Just because I haven't calculated it all, but what I'm seeing is that this class did well, so it's a good thing. It's kind of cool. It just shows how well we're. How are we doing? Yeah. Bring up an old book. For real. No, you guys did some crazy stuff. I couldn't believe it, man. Even the visual design was really well done, well executed. Some people made really good use of modals. Saw those pop up and forms. That stuff just isn't really easy to do. I saw some OAuth 2 authentication from JavaScript, which is not an easy task either. You know, you guys did that. Another group did it. You guys did it. What was that? Oh, that's what you did. Firebase authentication. Yeah, which is a challenge. You just did too? Okay. You use Google through Firebase authentication. Okay. Yeah, because it's crazy. It's tough. That's really good stuff, man. Yeah, a lot of fun ideas, a lot of really good concepts, a lot of stuff that I was like, wow, I could totally see this being a living, breathing application. And you guys were doing that thing, like, you know, for the school, right? That's cool. I mean, I could use it everywhere, so really helpful. Yeah, you guys, crime thing? Super cool, man. Yeah, lots of fun ideas. So I think you guys should all give yourselves like a nice big round of applause. That's not easy, and you have a deadline that you have to reach, and you know that you're going to be in front of people, and if you have nothing to look at, then you're not gonna like it. So, yeah. So last time I said that my mind was blown, you guys barely knew what a div was, and that's true. We didn't even get there yet, and like a div, right? That's like common knowledge. Like you know what a div is, like you know how to drive a car, right? Like, oh yeah, div. I know what div is. Right? What's the difference between a div and a span? Anybody know offhand? What's that? I know. Okay. Sanjay, what'd you say? It's blocks. All right. That's right. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, like I said, saw really a bunch of cool front end designs. Awesome job. Execution of challenging concepts. Like I said, a lot of you, none of you really took the easy road. It was kind of like this is what you originally intended and discussed with me and the TAs. Like you accomplished, which was really cool. It's hard to commit to something like that, even though you go, wow, this is going to be an uphill battle to learn how to do this. Especially when a lot of you were using APIs that no one else was using. You had all kinds of new challenges, like the pet API thing, right? So, yeah, you guys really went into your code and technology. That was cool. Everything else, honestly, I was just really impressed. I thought it was amazing. Like, man, and the amount of time that you guys have had to be able to build that type of an application, it's really cool. really cool. So, I mean it. It was awesome. So if you can take a second to do like a README for your GitHub, I think most of you have done it, but you know, setting up a README file on your GitHub will display nicely right on that front page, and it kind of explains what the application is. If you haven't already created a custom URL, like pages, whatever, people else you have. Don't have to, but consider writing some test cases just for kind of good practice, like who's going to use it. Consider writing a blog or a video if you want to. This isn't like a requirement, but that kind of walk through the building of the application. Just good exercise, maybe. If you have time for it. Also consider checking out someone else's code, right? Fork it, clone it. Check out other people, see what they did. And I'll have that list available at the end of class. Cool. All right, so what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about web servers, request responses. We're going to demonstrate the process of running Node applications. I'm going to do some coding. Actually, we're not going to do anything today in the browser. Right? Nothing. We're not even going to open up our browsers. It's just going to be different from ever before. So everything's going to be right terminal or bash. Get bash. We're going to introduce syntax for capturing command line arguments and modularizing JavaScript in Node. Bunch of fancy words that mean we're going to take everything we've learned and do it in Node. So we'll learn a couple other things, a couple new syntaxes. But it's not going to be a tough day. It's going to be just a new day. You got to kind of reset your brain a little bit and go, okay, this is going to be a whole new concept, but I'm going to be able to take what I've learned in previous classes and apply it to what I've learned today. So I don't think anybody will get lost, to be honest. All right, moving on. All right, so stay focused. That stuff is important. So if you're still working on your projects, Brady, you take a second. Okay. I thought you were still working on your markers. Why are you thinking about it? All right. So what is full stack development? You guys take a second. I love it. I saw it on LinkedIn the other day. I'm like, this is so funny. So the goal of the class is to be well painted all the way across, right? Not just like, oh, yeah, kind of do that. So yeah, I thought that was such a good description. So what is full stack development? Can anyone tell me? Well, tell me one of the stacks of full stack. What is a full stack development? No, that's true. Anybody else have a good description?
Whatever data you transform those data into information about you.
That's good. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So taking it all the way from the back end to the front end, right? All the way from the server, all the way to the client, right? The whole stream. So that's why I thought this is such a perfect description of that, because there are so many really good back-end developers, and there's so many good front-end developers, and there's sometimes not ever a mixture of the two. And what Node does for us is it really allows the front-end developers, the JavaScript guys, to do the server code and do the back-end code, which is kind of one of the really nice features of it. Even the experienced like Java guys come up, and the C++ guys, and they're picking up Node.js because like, it's familiar. It's built off the same language as C++. It's built in C++. All right. So full stack development is that. We discussed it, right? User, right? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, JSON, right? Interaction. Protocol we're taking, right? Either it's HTML or CSS or JSON, whatever. The backend server, right? It's providing that. I actually showed this on the first day of class, the same slide, right? So Node, right? Where we're at. Express the framework for Node. It's nothing we're going to get into quite yet. MongoDB we're going to get into very soon. It's a database. It's a SQL database. We're also going to get a MySQL. I think that's my class. This is big MySQL guy. So transfer it right into the client side, just like that. I mean, it really is. It's working with the server in a manner that we can take in that data, right? Right now, basic our world has been right here. A lot of it, right? Except for the fact of what? What have we been using? Firebase, that's good. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. What else? What else has been kind of over here? APIs, right? Very good, right? We've been interpreting that information, bringing it up in the front end, right? That stuff's all been server side, back end. Firebase, I didn't think of that. That's exactly right. Good. Okay, so full stack refers to the constant back and forth communication. The visuals displayed on the user, on the browser front end, and the data and logic that's stored on the server in the back. Right? So it's a pretty nice way to say it. All right. So we covered that on the first day. Anybody confused about it? It's okay if we're not. It's a pretty basic way to put it. All right. We went over this too, right? We talked about this, and remember we said how is this being done, right? We even saw some examples of people generating stuff like this in class, some of the presentations, something like this. All right. So who wants to tell me how they think this is being done? Oh, no, yeah.
Setting the text some backend server likely that does the search for basically every type that response.
Sure, yeah, write some sort of wildcard things and pull it up, right? Yeah, no, it's essentially it, right? That's how things get so awesome on the client side. Is because you have a strong back end, right? That you can build it. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So, what are some examples of server-side code? What does that mean? Like, what do you guys think? Like Facebook? Do you think Facebook's just all client-side stuff, all the stuff we've been learning, or do you think it depends heavily on server-side code? All right, like everything, right? Otherwise, you could look in the back end and get all the secrets, everybody's passwords, everybody's names, everybody's everything. All right, all that stuff needs to be generated someplace else, so we can pull it on the client side, right? All right. So some of the actions, the server-side stuff. I'm sorry, this is routine, guys. I know we already covered this. I just want to make sure we're kind of get solid again right before we get into it. We did do this already. So an API that parses a URL, parameters that provide selective JSON. You guys already did this. You know exactly what this works like, right? All of you use 2 APIs. Look, 1.5-ish. You know, so we all know what that looks like, right? Firebase method that provides timestamp back to the user, right? That's a perfectly good server-side code in action, right? Clicking on an invoice that provides a PDF report, right? Some sort of PDF module that creates a PDF on the back end and then sends it to the front end, right? Image processing software. There's a ton of those tools out there that develop images and rewrite images on the back end and display it to the client side in a more compressed manner, maybe smaller, right? So the actual image may live on the server, might be huge, right? Some gigantic file, but by the time you see it, just so you don't have to load this huge file, there's an image processor that's done on the back end that resizes it, and that's the version that you get to have, right? Just so it's faster to load on your computer and a million other benefits. All right, cool. So what is a server?
Where are you getting your information from?
Where are you getting information from? Yeah, sure. Server, right? Stores information, right? Good.
It's basically a repository or a place where you create something.
Right. Good too. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. So if I had a server right here in this room, Could someone describe what it physically would look like? Could be a box, all right? What's that? Could be a laptop. Could be a laptop, right? Could be like a rack mounted thing. Could be anything. A server is basically that, right? It's a computer. There's nothing really fancy about it. A server may be multiple computers that live on one computer via like a virtual machine, something to that effect, right? But it's just a computer, essentially. It's not all that complicated. It's just the fact that a server is used in a manner that is processing or stores data or has all that contained in it, right? We can turn we will. All of our laptops are technically servers at this point. And what we're going to be doing today is showing how our laptops are all going to be servers, because we're going to be doing server-sided code. All right, I'll give you a second to read this, because so I do like that last line. When we say server, it means either the physical hardware or the web server application software that's actually runs in the server command. So those are two kind of separate things. Sometimes people are referring to a server as, hey, the server is down. That may mean either A, the machine's on fire, or the software that's running the server crashed, right? Two things. All right. How do you guys feel about the server definition basically? Just 5. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we covered it the first day, so good. Yeah. All right. So what is a web client? Let me describe a web client. Anybody else want to tell me what a web client is? Right? So it's whatever is reacting to whatever comes to the server, right? It's the result of whatever's coming from the server, right? So then maybe that's Amazon Alexa, right? Right? Maybe that's a phone. Maybe that's a web server, or I'm sorry, a website or a computer that's on a website. Maybe it's a watch. Maybe it's anything. It's anything that's getting a response from the server. So web client could mean one of many, many, many things. It's that side of it. Let's skip through that. You guys get it? Okay. All right. So talk to the person next to you and explain to one another. I'm sorry, I know this is redundant, but I want to make sure we're all talking about it. What a server is, what a web client is, what a request is, and what a response is. Right? I'm sorry, I know. We did this on the first day. It's part of the lesson plan. So just take 2 minutes. All right, guys, big power clap. All right, very good. I think we covered it. All right, so we went through the important stuff. You can go back to Facebook. So this is my dog. This is Thurman Merman.
You should bring it.
Just bring my dog.
Yeah.
I don't think
Just bring your dog.
Let's put the line. Yeah, that's Thurman. I was ready to talk now. Yeah, that dog knows how to chill. We did get a rescue dog though too, and I noticed he was on your rescue app. That the place where we got him was on your rescue. And your thing, yeah. She's a Shih Tzu. She has a tattoo of the puppy mill she came from. She had a tattoo on her. Really sad. Yeah. No, it's sad. It's really sad. Puppy mill people. They tattoo a dog when they're done with it. It's really sad. So we, yeah, it's really sad. Yeah. I feel like we're off topic. I feel like we're off topic. It's like a sad situation. Horrible. Yeah, it's like a jailhouse tat. Like she had teardrops. Yeah. So what is Node.js? What do you guys think it is? JavaScript. That's right. Anybody else? Framework? Wait, yes.
An open source.
It allows you to run JavaScript on the server, right? So in like 2009, somebody designed a way to develop a way to run JavaScript on the server. So if this was like 2012, we'd be learning PHP, probably, anytime before that. But this got so popular that everybody's doing it. Applications, it's like server-side applications like development environments like PHP, no matter how many frameworks they come out with, Vue, Zen, Laravel, as many as they come out with, they still aren't competing with the popularity of Node. It literally is the most popular server-side thing. So we are definitely learning the right thing, just so you're sure. All right. So that's it, right? It's a cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment designed to be run outside of browsers. So, like I said, today we're not going to be using browsers. We're going to do everything with Git Bash and Terminal. So there is kind of two different definitions of Node. It says it's a general utility you can use for a variety of purposes, including asset compilation, scripting, monitoring, most notably as a basis for web servers. That is Bootcamp's definition of it, right? But when I hear Node, I think of two different things, right? I think of something that you can run on your machine as software, and it can actually manipulate files that are on your machine, on your computer, right? It really has that power. You can store, you can read, write, do all the same things, monitor on your machine, right? On the other hand, using it as a web server, right, we can do a lot of interactions that come from the user, right? So it's kind of like two things. So when you talk about server-sided, we talk about client-side, Node development, we're kind of with two different logics behind it. So we'll get into more of that later on in the class. Okay, so take a few minutes and research 5 companies that are currently using Node.js in production. Shouldn't take very long. Actually, shouldn't take 5. Should take like 2. Cool. What did we find, the guys? Groupon, ready? Uber? Cool. You can. NASA?
Travelers.
Travelocity?
Travelers.
Oh, travelers. Oh, sure.
I
Oh,
work there.
I was saying. Oh, that's some reason it's not familiar.
I work there, so I know.
Yeah, I know you. Essential. Huh. All right, isn't that where you were? Oh. Which one?
Right?
Oh, great. Yeah, so that's a ton, right? I mean, so it's these are huge Fortune 500 companies. A lot of those are, right? Those are the giants. So this is like the wave that's happening, right? People that are really good at the older, just like .NET, PHP, those are becoming like the legacy software that's out there now, and that's becoming like in my day, it was like the VB scripts or the ASP guys that were like kind of like we brought them back to like, hey, can you help us with this old traditional legacy code and fix it? Like then it's a wave, right? So this is the new wave. So we gotta make sure all we're riding right on top of that wave. So it uses JavaScript, like we covered, right? Meaning the front-end JavaScript developer can also build entire servers themselves. They can do all the backside stuff, right? It's easily expendable. Man, there are a ton of plugins that can expand the capability of Node. This is going to make you guys' life so much easier. Remember all that headaches that you guys did, exploring APIs, figuring out how to use, do all that stuff. The packages and the plugins that are available through Node is really cool. Once we learn how to work with packages and installing this stuff through Node Package Manager, you'll see how quickly this stuff we're up and running, getting really cool applications. Our first assignment with Node is just that. It's installing packages and working with them immediately, and you'll see how fast it goes. Really quick. I also think I remember this. This is a good like spot for us. I feel like we're all kind of on a good playing field right now, right? The really strong guys and girls in the class, right here. You guys are still working on it a little bit, try to get up there. This is a good spot for us to come together, right? Because even if you're super strong with JavaScript, or you're still like I'm like a 3, this is where we come together. You can still strengthen your JavaScript skills, and those that are really excel can come in with their Node. So I feel like this is a good landing page. You know, I feel like this is going to put us all on it. It's a good place to be. So if you haven't been paying attention at all, and today's the first day, it's time to pay attention. It's a good day to pay attention. All right. Also, single-threaded asynchronous model. Meaning you can handle multiple requests simultaneously, not a bottleneck, and I'll talk about that in 1 second. Okay. So I'm trying to think of a good way to describe synchronous threading in the class, and I think I figured it out. So I'm going to do a little exercise. Okay. So I'm going to use you 6 people right in front. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, move on to somebody else. Okay. Just to demonstrate synchronous threading. All right. So pick a number 5 through 10. Pick a number 10 through 40. Pick a number 20 through 30. Pick a number 1 through 10. Pick a number 30 through 40. What I did there is I waited for a response, right? I went to one person, got the response, with the next person, got a response, with the next person, got a response, next person. How did that work? That's a synchronous thread, right? So PHP, all those techniques, the VB language, that's how that works, right? It's a waiting for the response to come back. And you guys have explored a lot of this with your APIs, right? You had to wait for a response to do anything. So, what does asynchronous threading look like? Pick a number 1 through 10. Pick a number 1 through 10. Pick a number 1 through 10. Pick number 1 through 10. Pick number 1 through 10. Pick number 1 through 10. So I get all of it, right? In a way of a callback. I have all that information retained, and the second I want to go get it, I have it, right? I didn't wait for the response, but it was building while it was happening, right? Conceptually, that's how that works. You guys understand that?
So some form of parallel processing.
It's technically storing as a callback, right? So I'm able to keep that information going. And when I need it, it's there, right? But I'm able to constantly get that writing done. Does that make sense? It's a weird concept, and I promise you we'll get more into detail with it. But that was my best way to try it. How's that exercise, right? Yeah. Thank you. Oh, yeah. I had another idea that's going to be way more complicated than that, but I think take too long. How am I doing on time there? Man, I'm on. All right, so let's do this. Let's do a quick node check. Does everyone want to bring up their terminal or git bash? And we did this also, I believe, on our first day, but I just want to double check. So type in the word node in your terminal. If you don't know how to use your terminal, I use command space and start typing the word terminal, or find the little terminal thing. This one way down here. Terminal. Has everybody got into terminal like git bash? Is everybody there? Okay. Type in node, and then type in like a 1 + 1 or something. All right. All right. Who got an answer or who got an error? Did everybody get an answer first of all? Did you not get anything? You say command not found? No, you yeah. Oh, there you go. Just no. Yeah, so just. You got it.
I have them both. Oh, yeah. Like I can do it. Did you install it like the first day? Oh, so that's something like came in there. It's like one of the things that we're doing is install. Yeah. So this is
Sure, you're good, right?
okay, so you must not have set up. Then you go to your browser. And just do okay.
There we go.
It was just like a couple longer later.
Yeah.
Good. All right. You just do Control C and then Control C again. Why, like twice? Oh, sure. Maybe just like an extra, like, are you sure you want to do this kind of message?
So the point is, you have now left.
That's a good question. For fun? You didn't have to hit it twice? Oh. All right, does anybody not have Node installed then? Cool, good, all right. Power clap, and we're all back. All right, so let's build something, right? So I'm gonna build a hello world.js file. You guys don't have to do this, but if you want to walk through with me, it's not going to be super complicated, but I just want you guys to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go bring this up, sorry. All right, there's my hello world.js, right? I'm going to open this up in code. All right, so just like any other, just like I'm in any other JavaScript, right? I could type in anything I want to. You guys are very familiar with this, right? Oh, sorry. Oh, that's whoa. Okay. Yeah. All right. There's. So I created a file, right? Call it hello world.js. Went in and edited it. Just made a console log. Now, how do you think I call that file? Anybody know? Oh, on the very bottom. So, as I can see it. Yeah. Hey. You see? Hello world? Yeah. Oh, it's Control C and Control C again.
Okay.
What's that?
You said that.
Oh, dot exit? Right. I think you can do it both ways. I think you can do Control C twice, though. Yeah. Oh, I was not in Node when I made that file. Yeah. So you want to exit out of Node by doing the Control C, or sometimes I think they tell you just to exit. Control C or Command C, depending on whatever you're on. It's control. It's a control on Mac, yeah, but on it's yeah. Yeah. Good enough. Yeah. So then, how am I doing it? All I'm doing is saying node, and then I can call whatever file I want to, whatever I created. Since I created it, yeah, it's pretty small, but it's there. Is that cool? Oh man, come on. Hold on one second.
Can you call it when you're in Node, or do you have, like, if you're in Node and you want to call that, you have to like exit out and then go?
Yes and no. Well, I'll get to that. But that's a good question. Right now I'm outside of it, so we're just internal. So we're just trying to work on the node command. But yeah, for sure you can. So how did I create it? So first of all, I exited Node. I just did a touch, right? Created the file, and then I edited the file doing a console log. Oh, right. Very cool. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys do this on your own since you probably all did that anyway. But let's do this, the Sriracha activity. So create a file called Sriracha, make sure you're outside the node, right? By doing Control C, and then inside file use JavaScript to log out the word Sriracha goes great on nothing or whatever. And then you run the application using Node in your terminal bash window. Confirm that it logs the text as you expect. It shouldn't take you guys too long. Just do pretty much exactly what we just did with a new command, with a new word string. You can open it. You have to configure what files you want to open in it. So it kind of depends on your setting.
No.
Guess what I did?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so now
Never be outside of Node.
You see what I did there?
Goes good, smart. But I'm not gonna go back. I don't think you can go back. I think once you're not, yeah, you're gonna go back to it. Once you're not, see in the middle somewhere. Same.
Oh.
All the games. What team games? I didn't know where I look at it. That's what I'm saying.
All right, guys, did everybody get that to work? Yes, yes, yes. Anybody not get it to work? Oh, awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about arguments for a second. This is kind of a new term. We haven't really gotten much into this. Specifically, process argv, right? It's pronounced argv, V-E-E, argv, like a pirate, and V-E-E, right? So you'll never forget it, right? Oh, I should have done a meme for that. That would have been awesome. Oh. Do you guys mind? I'll spend 20 minutes finding it. I'm too late. I'm already thinking of memes. Okay. So the process argv returns like a properties as an array, right? So what will return when we call it? Now I'm going to high level it, then we'll go into more detail, right? This is going to return the location of our node installation, the location of the application that we're in, and then parameters, right? As many parameters as we assign. Okay? So sounds kind of weird, right? So it's going to solve. It's going to show us two things when we call it, right? It's going to show us the location of the node installation that we're currently on. Multiple, just in this case, we're going to be dealing with one, right? The location of the application, okay? It can contain multiple items, right? And then anything past that is going to be things that work, parameters that we send to it, right? So if I said process.argv, hi, in quotes, we'd be passing the application hi. Okay? What does this kind of remind you guys of, in a sense? What's that? Function, sort of, right? Query string. Remember query strings in a browser where we send multiple parameters to it? The same thing works here. Okay? We send multiple parameters to this. This is the first thing we're going to go through today. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Okay? I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, right. Just like any other array, right? We can point to specific numbers. What are those called? Indexes, right? So if I said argv0, what is it going to show me? The location of what? The node installation. All right? If I did process argv1, what is it going to show me? The location of the application, right? What if I did argv2 in this situation? First argument of passed in, right? Which is in this case. No. Very good. Oh, not going to do that yet. Cool. I think that's gonna clear up in a second when we kind of watch it. So let's just take a quick look. All right. So. All right, so I'm going to create a file called arguments.js. All I'm going to do is, console. RG. Oh, man. Mad at myself for that one. What do I call it? Press argument. Right? So the first parameter is, right? Second parameter. Right? Nothing else is being sent to it. All right, does that make sense, guys? You figure out how that works? So it's just printing back the node and the path of the argument where this particular file is, right? So let's try something else then. Let's do node arguments.js. Just like an up arrow will always do your last command, so that'll save you guys some time. If you just do an up arrow, so you'll see sometimes it just magically appears. Some of us know it, some of us don't, so it's covered. All right. You'll find out, like, when I'm doing git commands, like at work, I'm usually just like up arrow 3 times, up arrow 2 times, up arrow. Right, Tim? That's how you developers do it, right? All right. So I'm going to say arguments JS stuff. Right? Remember, the console log is just returning what? Process.argv, right? Anything that gets, it's going to spit out those items that are in that array, right? So right here's the stuff, right? It's the third argument. How, if I was going to just call that, how would I do it? All right. All right. So let's try this. Let's just keep going. We'll come back to that. Can you guys see? So this is just additional, right? Additional index design. Is anybody unclear on that piece of it? It's kind of like step 1. All right? Yeah, go ahead. Not clear? It's all right. No, thanks for saying so. Yeah. So it's completely new, right? We haven't done anything like this, so nobody's expected to know exactly how this all works, right? We're just learning about a new thing called process.argv, right? And what that is, it's a node argument right now that can take in multiple parameters. And you can use those parameters in our application. So just, yeah, go ahead.
So the one that there,
So all that did is did a console log here. Oh, real small. It's a process that already, that's all it's doing. That's all that application does. It's taking in that information, right? Console logging it, sending it out. Like this is what it has. Right? Does that make sense? And all it's spitting out is an array. All right, so if I do this, right? If I say 2, which argument is it going to pull out in the example that I did here? All right, let me work backwards. All right, so I'm going to do this. Thanks. Right? So why did it just return things? All right. Can't see the back. Any stuff, puppy. Sorry. There we go. All right. So what we did is skip by the first one, which says here's the node installation. Second one, here's the location of this arguments file. Third one, which is index 2, right? Things. Index 3 stuff. Index 4 is puppy. So if I wanted to call and get puppies returned, right? What do I type in? What number? How many think 4? Raise your hand. How many think 3? Raise your hand. All right. Find out. Puppies. All right. All right, so that's basic parameter stuff, right? So let's see what else we can do with this, right? So right now we're just learning the basics. Okay, I see we have a parameter, and we have 2 things. So just like any value, right? I can create. So let's say I'm going to say value. I'll call it first number is equal to process 2. All right, second number equal to process 3. Okay. Anybody explain to me what this code is going to do?
We're probably not going to pass standard stuff in this particular.
All right. So if I said 1, 2, what's going to return? Here's the code. I said 1 and 2 are the arguments that I'm passing in. Okay. It's a little tricky, right? Once you look at it, yeah, should be all right. Ha! I hate all of you. Okay, so what if we did like this? Okay, so we're able to pass in parameters, right, and get return, just like we can do with JavaScript, right? We just didn't get any kind of input. Yeah.
So unless you like parse it, it's automatically.
It's a string, yeah, by default. Anything comes in as a string. So me doing plus that just concatenated the two things together. So we learn from our mistakes, right? A lot of them today, guys. Does this make sense? I know this is kind of tricky. We've never seen this before, right? I could simplify this, right? I don't need to assign these as variables. I could simply just put them in here, right? But I thought that might look a little more confusing, right? There's a lot going on there. So, yeah. Anything we want to do, we want to say, you know, a name as a parameter, right? We could say hello, whatever. Right? You send in anything as this through this process, arguably, right? All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Create a command line app, node application that takes in 2 parameters. Okay, you guys know how to do it? Get it? I can bring it back up on the screen, right? And then outputs whether they're equal or not, right? So the 2 parameters that come in, you want to say whether they're equal or not, true or false, basically. You think you can do it? It's just JavaScript. It's just the fact that we got one new thing, right? Do you want me to leave up the instructions or the code? Fair enough. All right. So first thing I did is I created an arguments.js file, or whatever you want to. It's just going to use the process.rg, right? This is the magic thing, right? So I wish I could. I guess we could Slack. Well, here I'll Slack out the instructions. That'd be easier. Oh, do you Slack it out? Hey, man. All right, so just like we did the Node Sriracha thing, we're going to call it the same way we did here. Remember, we're not in Node. We're not in Node while we're doing this right now, right? We're just calling the command and the function that we're creating and then setting in parameters. All right? Who's with me just at 5? Oh, I just have this like kind of general kind of. Yeah. I bet you. That was the first thing I wrote. The second. There you go. Question whether they are. Yeah. Right then. You have a question? Yeah.
So he was on.
Oh.
He's already one.
And when you call this file, that's your plan. I would be my dictionary.
Something like, yeah, already one.
It's just an. This is why you're like psyching stuff out. Yeah. One new thing.
No, I've learned a million.
Today.
Today.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm seeing the.
Well, that's good. The only thing is
Oh my God. We know it.
what I did. I created the file. Yeah, I.
It's a browser.
Oh, yeah.
True, false. That's all this whole class.
Exactly.
Well, your coach was showing me.
Yep, you got it.
And then I'm like, no, she's
You gotta create the argument.
Create that. Same way he did it. Now, oh, I saw it on.
I know. What's the document?
That one. Or this one. Just to know that we're getting something in. You just do like the first number, save that. Yeah. I had to tweak some stuff, but after I figured out what the end was, I was thinking that you were actually putting a variable, you know, to get a number in the object versus.
I just want to compare them.
Yeah.
You would have we don't want to make these.
Just something.
That's good. You guys in?
So what you said. I'll just zero it. I don't know what happened.
Oh, good. I know. Yeah, don't worry. So what are we sending? We're sending nothing, right? So if you're going to send something, so it's looking for these two parameters. That's what that issue is. Now we're going to talk about indexes. First one, false. The node location, second one, false. Whatever location of the file. This one, you know, is your index. Whatever that first one is, one. Third, two. Adding those two together, you have to go up.
And plus, so
Makes sense? No, sorry. Is really weird way of saying we're going to report whatever follows this. I'm going to do something. So I'm going to set up various.
expecting like that number.
Right. Well, yeah, that's.
My
No, it did. You had that right. This is very right. So what we do now with this last exercise, this one,
we want to check now. So if you
so
pass
I'm going to
it
say,
to
so we don't have to say numbers or anything, right? So I'm just going to say first value, because never next thing, so I know how to say the value. Second value. Right? So how do I compare those two? How do I compare? Yeah. It doesn't need to be a number. So if it's equal to X, then we want to calculate something, right? We can say, watch you.
Usually we'll kind of want to do comparison.
The value is
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so like this way you would be able to see if they're equal or not. If you actually wanted to check the-
Is that saying that number is equal? Now, what would you else do? Also write out there. So now go ahead and run it. Now we're going to compare the first argument with the second argument. Right? So now try to tell you arguments say anything. It could be a number, it could be a thing, it could be a letter.
We could do equal to 6
And then you have another one, space.
Yeah.
So comparing those two things.
They were the same.
All right? That's right. They're not the same, right? What if we said
In this case, yeah, typically it's the same.
comparing those two parameters, right? Comparing the first parameter with the second.
So if I say 1 and 1,
Right. Play with it.
One is a number, and then two is a string, or like one is a number, one is a string. So like
one.
It's this way. There. But it's not. I think since we got the signs already, it should be correct. Yeah, let's just do that.
All right. All right, guys. How many got that done? Completed? With hands? All right. How many got it done in one line? We got it done in one line. All right. Sam, I'll go to right. Okay, so we got one more activity we're going to do before our break. This is going to be a little more tricky. Okay, so you guys remember our calculator app that we did in JS a long time ago, where we had to do like an add, subtract, and a multiply? We kind of ran through that process. We had different functions. You guys remember that? Oh, maybe we didn't. We're going to create a command line node application that takes in parameters like calculator.js, add 1, 2. Calculator.js, subtract 5, 2. Multiply 3, 2, right? All right, we divide, so we can do a remainder, right? Don't worry about the bonus unless you want to, but I can flag out the instructions for this, right? So remember, it's always good to kind of do like a pseudo code. You know, I'm thinking about, okay, so what is this first thing going to do? So what's this? What is add in this case? In the process argv. What number is it? What number is this? What number is this? So think like that. What can we do with the argv2 in this case? Right? Right? This is totally within your guys' skill. There's nobody in the room that can't do this. I honestly. Guys, get it? Feel confident? Well, sort of. Yeah, in this first example, right? I want you to be able to write a calculator.js file that if you say add space 1, space 2, will be 3. If you say calculator.js subtract 5, right? Calculator subtract space 5, space 2, it'll subtract 2 from 5. Right? So the operative here, right, is going to be what? You guys should be kind of thinking through how am I going to know what this is, right? And what am I going to know to do with the parameters? All right? So you guys working out how you want to work on it. Let me know if you have any questions to get started. I can totally help you get started. All right? What do you select on? Instructions? All right, so we're definitely going to be pulling 3 arguments out of that process argument.
Just kind of head right on over. Which is really super simple. What is that? You're writing a simple calculator, right? It's not like calculator. It's got 3 parameters, right? The first parameter is the operation. Second parameter is the first number in that operation. The second is the second number. Well, you tell me, right? So if you look at this, you know that there's always 3 parameters. What I would do, right? So I'm going to file. And then I would make some. So I make it burn and set that to work for the first parameter. And then I make another 1. That's the first parameter. So you want what? No, individual files for each of these.
All right.
It's okay if you have, but with this one, you could make a new file called calculator.js. Yeah. And you can tell because the instructions here say node calculator.js, so you're supposed to run a script called calculator.js through node. Guys, what's an alternative to an if statement? JavaScript. Which statement? We've recovered that. Let's try now. You probably want to evaluate the operator. Figure out what operation is supposed to do, right? If I want to do it on one thing. Also, using that what's an alternative to the
Yeah, right. Thinking about that this morning when I woke up.
Yeah, sure. It was the last thing in mind.
Thanks for that. Really simple. Guys, real quick, remember, node parameters are passed in as strings by default. So parse int, parse float, right? Yes. Yeah, you real close. I'm gonna save a little bit. What if we do this is that why don't we assign, and you don't have to. It's because it's harder for me to read that, right? So I would assign that very so far. First of all, what's so just called? I just call it operator. Right, we know that our V2 is going to be the operator, right? So after that, right. So we know that. Well, yeah, and then you value one down here, right? Just start, and then go on to this one.
Before I parse the words.
Well, once you just put the value in this, right, and then you make it. I know. So let's just replace that with operator. Yeah. We don't have to do it every.
Let's try that. Just make sure it works.
Oh, you're making it easier.
Cool. Okay. Got it.
You create a platform.
But I can.
Anyone remember going over this mistake? Really?
Now that has to be a book too.
Well, look at us, let's take right out. All right.
No, I'm down. Hey, look, I'm not saying
Still learning how to do.
just one.
She's not.
Now I would write the trash or add. But if you want to do this. So now if you want to say, oh, yes, hello world. So that's fine. So to run this, you say hello world.
Yeah, I understand that part.
Well, let's see run.
You don't know, you're not identifying which operation to do. If I do this command, how do I know that I'm supposed to multiply those two numbers? That's the question, right? So what you have to do is you have to evaluate that first argument. And say, if it's add, then do that add signal. If it's subtract, then do that. So,
Well, you gotta do one.
but don't just copy. Look at it. Evaluating the variable. Operating what?
My neighbor.
Is it really?
It's like,
So,
like,
I'm a crazy.
yeah.
Huh?
Next time,
So-
outside when I was like,
Want to hang out, talk about Node?
all outside.
Is it? It's because it's like a new toy for developers that have been doing the same thing forever. It's like a new, somebody said, hey, check out this new thing. That's exciting. That's fun. All right, how are we doing, guys? Anybody have questions?
It's the first one. Okay, so this, so this is good. What we want to do though is we want to be able to pass 3 parameters into this file. One would be like add, subtract, multiply, the second are the third. So you need to be able to access those 3 parameters, and this is the right idea. But instead of doing this, what I might suggest is something like this. Can you make a new variable called an R and call it operation? An operation is going to represent the first parameter, right? So add, subtract, divide, minus, remainder, whatever. No, we want to get the first parameter. So the way you get the first parameter is you can process.arg. Bracket. Now, process.arg returns 2 parameters here. Let's go back to this. When you just do process.arg, it returns 2 parameters. One is the location of Node on your computer. The second is the location of the file. So you see how the third one is the first parameter here, and the fourth one is the second parameter, and the fifth one is the third parameter. We want to be able to access 1, 2, 3 as operation number 1 and number 2. So this is going to be This is going to be node r, what is it, process.r bracket 2, 3, and 4. So operation is bracket, not curly brace, but square bracket because it returns an array, and you're going to do 2 square bracket 2, and that's going to represent the first parameter that gets sent out. So now duplicate that line. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Now check it out. Control C, Control V. Just Control V. Do Control V one more time. And one once again. Try one time. Control V. I don't think you must have copied it. 1, 2, 3. 3. Yep. Just 1, 2, 3. There you go. Now Control C. Command C. Yep. And then Command V. Command V. Command V. Now change operation. Change that second operation. Well, change the second operations to num1. So the second one to num2. You know what I mean? And then now this should be argument 3, and that should be argument 4. Does that make sense? That should be 3, and that should be 4. Well, because if we just run, and remember initially all you do is process.r, that returns, and that, well, the first 2 elements that it returns are the location of node and the location of file. You don't care about those 2. You really only care about the first parameter, which is argument 2. And this, because remember we count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you count an array. Well, so 1, 2, 3 are just the arguments. So this is argument. This is argument 1, but it represents 2 because not 3, but 2. Arrays start running from 0. So this is element 0. That's element 1. That's element 2. Right. So this is 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. And that's what we're doing here. 2, 3, and 4. Now we should probably make this singular. So it's just a single operation. So now you've got 3 variables. Now you can evaluate operation. Because what you want to do is basically say, if operation is add, then I want to print the sum of num1 and num2. If the operation is subtract, then I want to do num1 minus num2. If the operation is multiply, I want to do num1 times num2. So this is where you might do a switch statement. If you don't remember how to do a switch statement, Google how to do a JS switch statement. Okay. JavaScript switch statement. Works brilliantly. That's better than brilliant. I'm not at all surprised. But you might do it plugged in. Oh, good. Probably not infinity, it's just bigger than this. You're just being it's bigger than you. Very large.
Maybe it is.
Well, it's like, you know what Einstein said? He was like, if I go half the distance here, but so he joked like, well, you'll be close enough for all practical. You know, it's just sort of funny. Like, do you ever really get there? No, but you can do everything that you know. It's sort of interesting, that idea. It's not. It's just an interesting idea. So you see the switch statement? So this is it right here. Have something like this. You would say switch operation case add. Switch operation. And then you case add. Space quote.
Yeah, that is.
Well, actually, go back to your syntax. Go back to the web page. case, yeah. So when you want to do quotes because it's a string. Right? So case and colon or case and in quotes, right? String. That's a colon. This is a sign. You can do console.log. And then you'll do this for each of the operations, right? But look back at that syntax. You're gonna need a break statement in there too.
Okay, guys, how we doing? Fist of 5. How many got it completed mostly? How many are still kind of working on it? Couple, okay. Okay, I'll let you guys work on it for a minute. So awful. You gotta watch more than one episode. They throw it. I mean, what episode? Oh yeah. And he gets better. He's got another layer. He's obviously disturbed. Rick and Morty. All right, guys, let's take a break. How long of a break do we get?
1 hour.
We do not.
Why do you ask?
I ask because I have to look, and I trust you. That's why I trust. I have 15 minutes, so I'll see you guys at 8:28. 8:28. All right. Let's go. Ricky, yeah. So the first episode, right? Watch another one.
There you go. Check that out. Let's do that. I'll do it. I thought with it for sure. Yeah.
I got next dog.
No, I said fancy, not fancy. Yeah.
Sure. I did.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Why wouldn't you? I went to but I never asked my mom. Yeah. No, I said, well,
This is Node, right? This is parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3. There's no more. There's no more parameters.
well, being branded. Okay. Well, that's good. Pay them because one. If they had a tattoo, then maybe it's.
So now you've got these, right? You got 5.
Yeah.
So,
How about these guys?
That's how I.
No. You going?
It's from the grill.
Oh, so, yeah, so.
Yeah. And then would she be like, I don't know where I'm going. Yeah. Oh. My dog has some weird. Like, I think she was strange. And then she's got like, she's got scars about it. She's got a big chunk out of her head. For years now. She's got a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you looking for me? We won the lottery with them.
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
Oh, well, I am not.
I realize that.
He doesn't make any results, so I think I do.
Because that was I realized, oh, I don't
Oh, I am forgetting your command. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Come on.
Oh, you can. Oh, you can.
Yeah.
So I should have the 2 years, after 2 years, or 3 and 4.
No, that's true.
You probably bumped that up to 15. Probably just changed.
Yeah.
Aviso, he was like, it's not working, it's not working. Calculator, oh my god, es la primera
Straighter, like, yeah. What the?
Yeah, that's one.
You switch or you switch to what you use. Adding. Okay, what have you used? Partial plug. Partial plug. Yeah. Right? If you go to you have to break it. No, you don't have to. I'll show you. No, just to the camera. Add one plus solo. Just say one space.
Like one guy just moves a little bit, they can change the whole game.
But yeah, same thing. One space, right? Second, one plus two. It's showing you the no one plus واحد من that's the height.
It gives you the value. I just remember. That's reading. Oh, you got to post it. I see my comment. I know, but same thing so far that I'm still maybe give you a number of those.
We'll select out the solution at the end.
I'm trying to help. I'm good.
All right. All right, I'm on time. All right. Power clap. All right, so I didn't think we were going to have time for this one, but I think we do. So let's do it. We're going to do a multiples exercise with a partner. Okay. So with a command line node application, it's going to take a number from the command line, finds the sum of all the multiples of 6 that are smaller than it is. So you have to first research what a multiple, what multiples are. Okay, because it's kind of tricky if you're not familiar with that concept. So the program will basically take all the sum of all the multiples of 6 that are smaller than it, right? So let me do an example. If I code it, then you guys won't. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to just run the sample. Yeah. Okay, so let me come back to this. Okay. All right, so actually this exercise is actually supposed to get you to learn 2 things here. So I'm not going to give it totally away, but I was gonna just describe it. So you're supposed to learn what multiples are, how it works. So in this particular exercise, and this is one of those skippable ones, but since we're on time, I thought you should do it. Maybe we can play around for 5 minutes. If you can't do it, then totally fine. We can move on. If you can, do great. So the application should take in a number from the command line, right? We all know how to do the parameter, right?
and find the sum of all the multiples of 6 that are smaller than it in this case, right? 6. So whatever number we do, it finds how many multiples of 6 that are smaller than it is. And if you guys know how multiples work, okay. So look up multiples if you're not sure how that works, and then try to write this code piece of it. So I think this is like a learning and a coding type of exercise. Okay. The bonus is actually to take in 2 parameters and then take in the first number from the command line and find all of the multiples of the second number that's smaller than it. Don't worry about the bonus if that's too confusing. The first one is simply that, taking in one number and finding the sum of all the multiples of 6 that are smaller than it is. All right? So research multiples if you're not sure what that concept is. Or where's my math meme? Oh, that would be perfect. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, it's just about to.
I'm trying to finish that third one. I have a question.
Yeah.
I'll use the switch.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, right here, just yeah, yeah. So you're just got and all this.
Doesn't work.
Oh, you have plus. Yeah. Work as a partner, guys, if you want to. Partner.
But still, you should keep working out. Keep on the work. I was not put minus here or multiply. I'll just use more addition.
So the next one is
Yeah, make sure you subtract it. That's why.
You're not doing it 6 times.
Smaller. So, yeah, so
You're picking them right.
Well, I'm just curious, like, why nothing popped up.
Oh, you're counseling.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I just wanted to see if it would just went out.
What are you pushing?
Well, what I'm pushing. Nothing.
But you could push the. Yeah, just look at this index and figure out. I think that's really great. All right. I'm just going to code this up on the screen too if you guys want to look, or if you don't, whatever. Since we only have a few minutes for this one. This is tricky. Sorry, guys. So, yeah, give me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't pass in that param. Thanks. Oh, parsed. Thanks. Like go lesson. So something like that. I mean, is that kind of what you guys are coming up with? That's somewhat close. That's a tough one. You did a while loop? You could do that too, right? So yeah. So essentially that's it. We're just pulling all the multiples that are less than 6.
Yeah. Well, less than the number, the sum of which add up to 6. Yeah, I don't know. That's not a very good exercise because we know how to do everything. So I'm not like super fond of that. All right. Do you guys want to move on? Yes, I do too. That gives me a huge headache. Now that y'all have headaches. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Big power clap. I hope you're not too tired after the break because we gotta learn some more really fun stuff. So okay. Now that we learned, process.argv, right? Now we can move on to the next thing, right? Module export, module, right? So it's a special object that's included with every JS file in Node by default. It allows us to export data from one file to another using keyword require, right? What does this sound like to you guys, in a sense? Anything sound familiar, right? Like libraries, like when we're using libraries, right? This is kind of the method of doing it. So so technically what this is called modularization, right? Modularization. So we're going to pull different parts, different libraries, and build our Node.js file, right? Using this. And I guess it'll help if we see it, and then we can talk about it. Yeah. Cool. Sweet. All right, so I'm going to pull up the example because that's a lot funny. Okay. Okay. Okay, so using this modular exports, right, we can pull specific files out that we want to, specific objects of this that we want to use, right? So in this example, I'm saying module exports this. So what this is going to export is just the items that, sorry. I want to kind of high level this. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I want to kind of just so you can see how it works, right? So within this JavaScript file, we're creating what here? Project, right? And then, right, with, right? Okay. So, and this is the first time we can see this. This is the first time that we've all seen this. So module exports, right? So their definition is a module export is essentially an object that we can add data or variables that we can access from other files using the require keyword. So we can specifically say what things we want to have from the module. It's one way to say that. I don't love how that's being explained, but let me just walk through the run. I'll show you. Okay. Okay. So if I want to include another file within this file, I can do a require, right? This is similar to a lot of other languages. Same thing. Then include, if want to require. In this case, it's require. So this is referencing each.js file in the same way. So it's just saying I'm going to include it, just like a library, right? Just like a CDN, just like anything else. This is how it. So I'm just saying stuff I need, require that file. Now, remember what's in that file. I'm just going to come back to it. Is here. So we have essentials, we have nice to have, we have non-essentials. And part of the module export, what's actually going to export from this file, from this module, is going to be essentials and nice to have. All it's going to say. So what's not being included? non-essentials, right? So this is kind of a conceptual. I don't think you guys totally would get how this works in practice right now, but I want to show you how it works, right? Okay. So we're going to reference all these like like the sub objects within here, right? So you can see, oh, it's going to print all the stuff I need, right? So it's going to use that one first, right? Where that came from. There. This is all the stuff that comes out of it, right? All the stuff I need that essentials. What's that going to come from the other one? No, sorry. Wish I was faster with this. Okay. So it's going to do, first of all, the essentials. So what's that going to return? Well, you write the entire object, right? And the stuff I need nice to have, right? Right? It's gonna show the non-essentials. So what's that gonna show? Huh? Yeah, I catch that in time. Didn't get it, did I? Right? It's not gonna print anything because. Sorry, I know it's confusing, guys. So I want to walk through it real slow, just to make sure we all get it. Because that's not included in the export, right? Even though we're referring to this file, we're saying we're going to get all this stuff. Look how we're referencing it, right? Just like JSON, just like we're going through it, right? We assign a variable up here to the required. So this is super important. You guys know how this part works, right? So we're requiring this file, we're including this file. But in this file, it's only saying, hey, module export only these objects. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. You want to see it? Yeah.
Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just export it?
Good question. Kind of depends on your application. You just have to notice that it's an option, right? So maybe on another require you'll need different files, or you'll have different things that are calling from the export. Or maybe is a situation where there's an access level that'll have certain things that you'll want to have, right? So maybe only certain people can see certain things. It's a good question. This is kind of in a way of it's teaching us that there's if we just did the require, just didn't include, we would start there. And this way it's saying we can control what's actually being included in that file. So it's kind of like two things we're learning in once here. So let's just see what it looks like. I'll just run it. Yeah. So like I said, I'll select this thing out too, so we can play with it later. All right. So check it out, guys. All the stuff I need, fit on everything. That was included in the modules export, right? The essentials, the nice to have, and look what it says for non-essentials. And if I did, it's like not even like it even existed, right? Wasn't even there. So what do you think would happen then if I included that in part of the modules export? Right. Yeah. All right. Let's do that for fun, right? All right, do you see it? Non-essentials cooker waffle maker. So we just included it to the modules export piece of it. So just to recap, I want to make sure we're kind of getting the basics of this. And don't worry if you're not totally getting it, because it's something we're going to get a lot further in as we go. This is something you're going to be seeing in all of your applications. Just like we include the libraries, we bootstrap, we put all stuff in our files we number. This is something we're going to be including in all of the Node.js files. So get used to this syntax. Super used to it. Okay. So what do we do first? It's stuff I need. Require the ESS file. The module is export, says what's going to go out there, what's not, right? And then we're console logging just those items. This is how we're referencing it. Stuff I need dot essentials, right? So it's pulling this particular object from there, from the module, right? Does that make sense? Okay. All right, let me move on to the next part and we'll see if that clears things up a little bit. Oh, right. And so it's, I mean, basically this whole concept is going to be covered in another chapter later. So this is just kind of a foundation. So let's make sure. I want to be super solid at this. So when we come back to this, you guys aren't like, wait, how do we do that again? Let's just cover this again real close. I just want to make sure we get it. Okay. If I'm saying module.export, this is a new thing. You guys have never seen this before, right? If I define it, I'm literally saying this is what's going to be exported from this module, right? How we feel about that? Just the file, right? Just that part, just saying that that's going to be that, right? And if I get rid of the non-essential, what happens? The non-essential no longer export.
If you're creating an object, you export that.
Yeah, it's all JSON objects now at this point, right? So that's the notation that we're using, right? So the same thing is being referenced on the other end. You can change it whatever you want to. Yeah, doesn't matter.
So how would you reference it?
So I'm sorry. What? Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So if I want to say something like that, you mean? Right, then I could pull it. But yeah, it's better practice to try to keep your variables the same name. So when you're making other changes, you know what you're referring to. So it's kind of showing you examples. So this is how you write that in a sense. Right? Make sense? Good. That's a good question though. Okay, so that's that piece. And so we're 100% clear on that. This is how we refer to a module, right? Requiring that ESS.js file. If this doesn't exist, what do you think will happen? Can't find module ESSX, right? Does that make sense? So it literally needs to be there. This is just saying it's pointing into the same folder that it is in. So this syntax is super, super important. So out of anything, the main stuff that we want to cover so far today is that process argv, how to use it, the parameters, right? How require works, right? Two, this statement right here, how often I'm going to use this, guys, in the next few weeks. I can tell you the rest of the class. This is something you're going to commit to memory, okay? For sure. All right. Three, module.export, right? What is available? What objects are available from this module? Here, right? You guys got those three things? For sure? Okay. What? I'm sure. Yeah.
So a lot of these things, thinking about JavaScript here is running in a which is why things look a little bit different. So in the browser, like on your project, you probably had a couple of JavaScript. Think about like, so like to get all of those things, like you're creating into JavaScript files and full, you had to use script. That's how the browser downloads the file, puts it all together.
Yeah, that's really good. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Right. These are just like ingredients. All right. To Christian's example is good. This is ingredients, required ingredients for making a salad. Then these could be all the lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, nice to have, essentials, non-essentials, bacon. Right. So we wouldn't include bacon in our salad. So right now, it's a great analogy. But yeah, saying everything lives in the file structure is right. This is the V8 engine. It's perfect. Good analogy. Perfect. All right. We're moving on to. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right. Yes, exactly right. Yeah. So this is kind of different than what we've been doing before with calling those libraries, right? Because within our libraries, we never really specified what was going to show and what wasn't. Most of us just spit out everything that was going to be included into it. Duncan.
Does it have to have a certification? How like JavaScript are the bottom, CSS is at the top?
That's a fantastic question. Yes, I believe so. That's a tricky one. I believe it has to happen before anything else is called. I believe that is still procedural, right? In a sense where that needs to be loaded before anything else is, in the sense. It doesn't load in the bottom. So when you think of how a page is rendering, and it needs to load it like last or first or whatever in that order, it's a slightly different, whereas it's got to get the required file first before it can use it.
Required is always at the top. Export
In this case, now it may not always be at the top. It's before that is being used. The module is being used, right?
and export is at the end of all the objects.
Right. In that, yes, because anything you want to include in the export need to be defined beforehand. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Good question. Anybody else? Question about that part? This is going to make sense when we start using it. Those are going to be the main pieces of it. So let's do the band.js activity. And this is going to be fun. So we're going to make a file called bands. It's going to run using by using run.js. I wonder if I'm going to select that out to you. No, I'm not. So make a JavaScript file called bands.js that exports an object, user genres, and bands like this, right? So you punk, Green Day, rap, random C, classic, Zeppelin, or require JavaScript file in a run.js file. You guys remember that require command, right? Make sure the program runs properly when it enters a terminal like this. Run that Node.js. And make sure the output looks something similar to this. So if you think about what we just did in that example of having to run, right, having the object, this is going to include things like, right, export module, right? We're gonna assign these objects, right, in JSON. We're gonna include the file. We're gonna export it, right? So make sure you use the modules export and the required, right? And in this particular case, we don't need to use process.argv because we're not really doing anything that's custom here. We're just doing something else. Next example we will. Do you guys want me to start with this? Let me bring up the run file. Right? So the first thing we're going to do is we need to create that object, the thing that's creating the objects, right? That file that we did that's creating the objects and doing the modules exporting there, right? Or we can start with the run file that's going to actually include or require that file. All right? How many are with me just at 5? Oh, really? Oh, good. I mean, no, I was surprised. Okay. So I'm gonna do a file here. I'm just gonna call. Okay, I'm gonna start over. So if you guys want to walk through with me, if you want to do it on your own, that's totally up to you. I'm just gonna create a new folder. So you guys, you can work upon yourselves if you want, but I'm just gonna call it like a bands folder. Oh shoot, yeah, sorry. Can you cite out the instructions? Thanks, man. Sorry. All right. All right. So I know I'm gonna need two files here. I'm gonna create one that's a run file, and I'm gonna create one that's gonna be like a bands file. Crutch. So for me, I know I'm going to start with the bands file because that's going to include all the objects and everything that the other file is going to use, right? Right. Something kind of close to this. If you're working on your own, that's totally fine. I'm just going to move on to the run piece of it. Do what? Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, it hasn't been through every class. No, within the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Good catch, though. Is everybody kind of here? Oh, really? Good. Yeah, awesome. Something like this. So, I mean, yeah, this is kind of stuff we've done. I know we haven't done a ton of it, but we're really just calling an object, and this is all just going to be this. Yeah.
So, is there any way?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the reason it is, and it's kind of, in a sense, it's kind of best practice, right? Because
Yeah.
you're going to be using the same variable with another font. And why not keep it the same?
Yeah.
It's going to be the same, right? But I understand that's confusing. I totally get it. But yeah, we're going to say bands can do this. That's what, yeah. But if this was like band titles and this was bands, and we're at the other file, it'd be like, we're calling bands, we're calling band title. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go to my run file now. All right, so this is the fun stuff, right? I'm just gonna say band. I'm gonna call it something different though, just because I'm just gonna call it like band types or something, because this one now it's confusing, but I don't want to call it bands because the variable is gonna be bands. So yeah, man, nope. All right, so I think I just called it bands. Yeah, so it should look something like that. Do you guys kind of get that part of it? Where you guys are at? Cool. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, these are already, you're defining.
Could have it, but this is just saying it's in the same folder. Yeah. It's good practice. Yeah. Because if we wanted it in other folders, we could include it in here, right? So I could say like bands, and that would be in the bands folder, right? And since we are on the server side, it's important to know we have access to any file that we want to on our computer. So there's no requirement of where that needs to be. This could go anywhere. This could go call a file on the desktop. Okay. So what do I want to call? I'll call like the rap band. Okay. Loud. Sorry, did confuse myself. See what that looks like. So that would be just to return everything that's in there, right? Let's just see it. Just want to make sure everything's working from this point. Okay. Run. Sorry. Okay. So just returned it. That's all. Now, if we wanted to pull up a specific type. Now, if we wanted to, we could incorporate with this with the argv and pull a specific parameter, right? So I could request a parameter, right? Say wrap and have it return the proper value, right? I wanted to, but we don't need to get that sophisticated. All right. Did you guys see that? Sorry. So I was able to pull, right, the module, right, the object inside it, right, the value. Does that make sense? You working on that? Did some head nods? Didn't do that weird. No, I know you got it. I think you're probably at a different place than. All right, so that's and that's essentially it, guys. That's the piece of it we want to learn. So, yeah, I really want you guys to be able to do that on your own. Why don't you, for good practice, create another object and then try to maybe not include it in your module as export, and then try to call it, and then include it in your module as export, just to kind of get that process down, right? So what I just said was horrible bands. I'm going to create. I'm not going to export this at first. What's your favorite band, Virginia? I don't have a category. What's a horrible rapper? Anybody? Young Thug. Flavor Flav. You're gonna knock on PE? No, not in this house. Young Thug. Yeah, because you know what? All the new rappers, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. Polka. All right. Well, I mean, really, this is anything, right? Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna call my horrible bands in here. Also loud. Just so we can see it. That's all it's doing. It's not anything. Horrible bands. Bands. Oops. What did I do wrong, guys? Right. Good. So you guys are paying attention. Still not doing it. Types. Horrible bands. Bands. All right. Will that work? No. Why? No, what does this need to be, though, first? Right. Make sense? Okay, so we didn't include this in our module export, so we all know that that's probably not going to return anything, right? So it just cannot return wrap of undefined, right? So it doesn't exist. So let's do this. We got to call it that. Yeah, don't we? Right. Oh, that makes sense, guys? Yeah, question? Yeah. So that's, I mean, honestly, that's it. Right? All we're doing is calling another file and using it, right? So this is a lot like what we're doing with JavaScript, right? Except for the fact that we can decide what's going to show and what's not, right? How do you guys feel about that? Just a 5? That's fine. I know I'm losing some of you, so it's you know it's okay. Just when you get a second, go home and kind of practice those 3 major things that we talked about. Okay. Cool. That was fun. All right. So, oh no, now you're supposed to do that with a partner. So, okay. Why don't you add to it with a partner? Why don't you think of something creative to add for 5 minutes? Right. Yeah, I just need 5 minutes. So why don't you guys just take 5 minutes to work with a partner and build something else to your run or your band or your something. Right?
That's it. It is. When you write it for all of them.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's going to
So it goes into your layout.
Yeah.
Based on the how you explain stuff.
It's not the same
Oh, I was just curious because it works. Why? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. Question. Okay, guys, real quick. Real quick, I need attention real fast. Power clap all once. All right, cool. So I'm going to do one thing. This week's homework or the next upcoming homework is going to create a Siri-like app called Siri. We're all going to create Siri. Should be an overnight process, really easy. Kidding. But it's a lot easier than it's going to sound, right? So it's going to take in text commands and output various information like tweets, song information, and movie information. So you guys want to see it quick before we go? Cool. It's no. It's not. The point of this one is actually to kind of show you how easy it really is. Seriously, just piece of cake. Okay. One sec, guys. I'm sorry. I just want to find the. Okay. Okay. So we are going to get into packages and how they work with Node. NPM stands for the Node package module. So we'll get into that. This stuff is something that you'll learn as part of the homework assignment, right? I'm installing packages for this particular application. All right, they're all come in a file called packages. In this case, package block.json. I'm going to basically say what modules we're going to need for this application and where they're going to live. So don't worry about the stuff will come to you as you kind of see it. You understand packages as a sense of like a bunch of files where they live, like a map to places, okay? We're going to totally cover this. I promise. This is just like literally just a quick showing of how this part works, okay? So what I did was included 61 packages in this in 1 second, right? Just real quick, added the packages, right? So they're going to include things like Spotify, Twitter, right? Some other movie, this API, a bunch of APIs I just installed as part of this application by having one package file. All I want to show you is the power of that, right? You've used packages stuff before, right, Tim? Have you within? Okay, well, not with Node, but with so it's basically you take in a bunch of stuff and you map it out to it. It's really awesome. I just want to show what that piece really looks like. Okay, so how we run it is now that I installed all those packages, I can call it, and one of the things is like my tweets. Cool. So what this did is use Twitter, and it's using CNN. So it's using the Node CNN. So it was literally that easy. I could pull all the latest tweets from CNN, time, date, stamp, all that stuff, right from there, right? The key, all that stuff was included in the packages, so I didn't really need to do anything, right? So another function that Leary is going to do, and you're going to learn this with the homework, so I don't want to go too much into it. So I could say something like, modify this song. Somebody give me a name of a song quick. You say bad and bougie? I'm going to do that one. How do you spell bougie? Is it like bougie? What? I spelled it right? Isn't that right? J-I-E? That's not right.
B-O-U-J-E.
Yeah, I had it right. Man, bad and bougie. I'm so bad that I can't even spell bad. All right, sorry guys. Okay, so by this song. All right, what did I forget there, guys? You see? Yeah, thanks. All right, so pulled out all the different versions of Bad and Bougie. Apparently, there's a lot from Spotify.
You're not gonna play?
I can look at preview song right here. So with this, I was able to return. I know it's not appropriate. The video is really funny though. Like in McDonald's, like drinking Moe. Oh my god, it's so funny. Have you seen it? Oh my god, so inappropriate. I can't hear it. Well, you get the point. It loaded it. You heard it, whatever. Okay. So anyway, that's what the Leary app is going to do. It's just going to return cool things. So we can do a movie also with the Leary app. So movie this. Somebody name a movie. Right. I mean, wow. All right, there you go. Right. It's going to be an app. You'll see an application. These are just calling the API, so they're all referenced. But you'll see how that part of it works. Yeah, they're just calling methods, just like we call any other function, right? And then we're setting a parameter. So you know you're going to see the API, right? And you know you're going to see a function. So that's I'm just setting out whatever results come from the API. So this homework doesn't get into that level of detailness. So don't worry about how many. It's simply communicating with the API, work with packages, and giving a return. Yes.
So where do the packages go?
Sure. So once they install, this package lock is built, right? So somebody built this. I did not. But all these places are all different packages, right? So to answer your question, Lindsay, you'll see these are all different things. So what was one of them that it's Spotify? I know, but I want to show Spotify. All right, fine, that's Twitter. Yeah, so So this is pointing to, and I don't want to confuse you guys too much because at the end of the day we've been doing a lot of stuff, but this is pointing to a node package module that lives Twitter, right? So this is a file basically that it's taking and saying, hey, you're going to need this. Okay, I know exactly what to do. So when I do an npm install, it's going to read the package lock and install it in the proper folder. Yes.
This is like a package of packages. Helps me make a query bot, essentially. And
Yeah.
All like this is for Siri, basically.
It's making a Siri in a sense, yeah, because it's using all these different APIs, right? All these different packages that they're along with.
You can get different packages, different things that has specific.
Totally. Yeah, anything. Yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of packages and libraries available, especially with NPM. Yes. Anybody else? Yes. Because this technically is going to be using an API in the long run. So we had to learn that piece of it first, right? This doesn't live on our machine. All this information doesn't live in there. It's still using an API call, even though it's using the package library to interface with it. It's using the package. Don't worry when you get down this road. I just want to show you guys how this stuff works. Essentially, not the why, just the what.
I mean, literally though, like you can think of a package, we wrote our own file and then required it in. Think of the package like somebody else wrote the code in the file, but this is downloading the file.
Right. So just like we required those other files, it's just saying, oh, here's a bunch of other files that you require. Somebody else wrote that you wrote. Those include other files, those other packages that exist, right? So just super high level, just kind of understand how that piece of it works, right? I was able to do npm install, I used the packages, and installed all of them on the machine, right? It's okay if you guys aren't 100% with me. Are we at least at 3? 3? 5? Come on, Tim, can't be that. Tim's up there throwing up 6s. Yeah. Rob, I know you have trouble. All right, you guys good? All right, awesome, man. Hey, we don't have class on Wednesday. Unless you guys want to come, I'll do fireworks. No, we don't have class on Wednesday. So and Saturday we do have class, but I'm not here, so I'll see you guys next Monday. Yeah, have a good. Yeah, happy holidays, guys. Huh? Oh my God.
Already?
No, I burned myself. I was barbecuing. I party on Saturday. Oh, I was like, grill. I was like, fixing something.
Question, it's very quick.
Oh, that's cool, man.
This would be a good way to clean up my RPG game, right? So I could put like the player character, all their values in a different JS file and node it into the main JS file just to keep it better organized.
Definitely. I mean, yeah.
This would be the ideal way.
You should do that anyway.
Yeah.
Get it started that way because you're going to learn a lot more stuff that you can use when you get it there. So I think you should have all this stuff stored server side.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Then you're not giving away other stuff too, like points and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's a really good idea.
Still working on that slowly.
When you download those packages,
Yeah.
permanently installed, or do you have to reload them every time you refire the stuff?
No. Now if I try to reload it, They're on
Oh.
stealth, they're on stealth.
Yeah, it basically.
They're on the hard drive.
It just told me there's something. So what it did is run out all the packages and see if it has a new version of it. So.
Sounds good.
Good question.
You don't have to do that anymore. I've been happy for it.
I was gonna ask you, like, that you have to use, does that stays there? I kind of like. That makes more sense. Thinking just download it.
I would, yeah. So, I'm trying to get it good. Like, yeah, we don't have.